life is a mess and you're totally stressed out, just call Trent. Just call Trent. When your wife is cold as ice and you need some advice, just call Trent. Just call Trent. He'll shoot it straight and he won't say no. He'll just give you that advice and say, well, there you go.
Oh, hello, and welcome to another episode of There You Go with Trent Mabry. I, of course, am your host, Trent Mabry. Today, my guest is Dylan Krasinski.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, how are you, Dylan?
I feel like that was a weird way for me to say hello. I copied you, and it was very not me. But, we're going to immediately, here we are. Good. Thanks for having me, Trent.
No problem. Thanks for copying me. I'm flattered.
Yeah, well, you know what? Impression is the most sincere form of flattery.
That's what people say.
I've heard. Yeah, I've read a couple books. I've heard it.
But anyway, thanks for doing this. How are you?
Yeah. Good. I'm good. No, go.
Wow, you recently got in trouble with the law.
Did I? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you want to talk about. There we go. Yeah. Well, dude, yes, I did recently get in trouble with the law. I have my hearing coming up. I'm a criminal now, some would say. I am a bit of a bad boy, if there are any ladies listening. So, yeah, dude, it was ridiculous. I was taking the subway home late at night. It was like 2:30 in the morning on like a Saturday, right? And I live in Brooklyn, so I'm taking it home. And I miss my stop, right? I'm watching a video on my phone.
Yeah.
I tell people I was playing chess on my phone. But what I was actually doing, have you ever seen the videos of the two Asian kids with Down syndrome where they like...
Yes, a former guest, Jack Burke, showed me that. He actually tried to play it on the podcast, but I cut it out.
It's great. But I was watching a video of Theo Vaughn reacting to them cooking and then them watching the reaction of Theo Vaughn. So it was real cooking YouTube inception. And I was like enthralled, missed my stop. I go like 2 stops past. So now I'm in Brooklyn. I forget the stop now. I'm like 3 stops past mine.
Right.
Not the greatest. Broadway Junction.
Okay,
the greatest area to be in at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. So I was like a little and then it's like 20 minutes for my train. It's empty. I'm the only one around. So I was like, I feel like I'm definitely gonna get maybe jumped or murdered.
Right.
And then so all of a sudden I'm like sitting there, I'm looking at my phone. I got my headphones in, and all of a sudden like I feel this presence. I look up, and there's like 2 guys in front of me. And then I like turn around, there's one guy behind me. They like flanked me like a military operation.
This is it.
Dude, I literally was so upset with myself. I was like, I cannot believe that I allowed myself to just be so unaware that I'm going to get jumped and robbed right here. They're going to take my phone. I won't be able to keep watching that video. Like that's
the worst part.
That's going to be the most upsetting part is I don't know how it ends,
Right.
I got to see him taste the recipe because that's why we're watching. But yeah, all of a sudden I was like, oh shit. And then I see he's like to my headphones. So I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, ID. And I was like, what? Excuse me? And then I like looked down and he's got like a silver badge.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you piece of shit. And I was like, oh, what? And he's like, ID. I need to see your ID. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Oh. And I was like, oh, you guys are police officers. I go, thank God, man, because I thought you were about to kick the shit out of me.
Right.
And they were like, no, we're here to protect the community. I was like, all right. And then he was like, ID, takes it. He's like, we just need to check you for warrants. And I was like, sure, but why are you even asking me? Like, what am I doing? And he's like, you're not allowed to vape on the subway platform. I was like, really, fellas? I go, is that what we're doing? Is that like, this is it? This is how we're protecting the community?
Yeah.
Dude, I was furious, man. I was so upset. Oh my God. I'm the only one there.
Yeah, as you should be. It's ridiculous. The amount of crazy things people do on the subway.
Dude, that was the night. I don't know if you were out in the West Village, but I said this, like, that like 3 hours before, I was in the West Village and there were two separate fights. And then I don't know if you saw like someone took a bat to someone's car and like
I think
smashed in
I
all the
think I
way.
did see that.
Yeah, dude, it was that night. So like literally, we're in the West Village, not a cop in sight, no one around, just like. And then I go and I was like, really, guys, three of you to take down me and my mango vape pen? Like, what are we doing?
I know
Like,
that's ridiculous. How much was the fine?
it's a $50 ticket.
Oh.
I told them, they were like chumming it up with me. They were like, at least you'll have a good story about this. And I was like, you're gonna have a good story when I go to court and fight it. Like,
You're fighting it.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm gonna put my suit on. I was a prosecutor for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going and I'm gonna be like, hey, hello. This $50 ticket out of principle is being fought to the end. I'm gonna make them stare me in the eye and I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I'll pay it. I'll pay it right here, but you're gonna have to testify. And I've already thought of my cross-examination. I'm gonna be like, no, it was quite cold that night, wasn't it? And they're gonna be like, it was. And they're gonna be like, I don't recall. And I'm gonna be like, would it refresh your recollection if I said that it was 31 degrees? It was quite, I remember I had like a hood on, I had like a sweatshirt and a big jacket.
Yeah.
And that's my angle. I'm just gonna be like, did you ever see the accused, me, put a vape pen in their mouth, or did you only see what you believed was smoke leaving their mouth?
So you're gonna say that was your breath. It was so
yeah,
cold.
exactly. That's my.
I like that. I like that.
Innocent till proven guilty, Trent. That's the way of the American system.
Exactly.
Got to take advantage. You can't incriminate yourself. Hopefully, they don't use this podcast.
I know that's what I was gonna say. I may have to blackmail you.
They might
to not mail this podcast into it.
Dude, they're gonna call you as a fucking prosecution witness. They're gonna come up and be like, Trent, isn't it true that you just did a podcast with Dylan where he admitted blatantly on multiple social media sites that he did in fact vape on the side?
And he said his defense was gonna be that it was his breath.
Just straight up, yeah. It's not lying. It's a defense that you're just saying, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you saw? You never admit it, but
Exactly, yeah.
Never say anything to the cops. That's what I always say.
100%, I agree completely. But I saw a fight on the subway like the first week I was here. Week I moved here. This train. We got in. The fight has already ensued. They're already yelling at each other, and then at the next stop, they get off on the platform. One guy beats the complete shit out of the other guy and then gets back on the train before it takes off. Yeah, it's a bull. I've seen that happen. I've had people be like, well, why wouldn't you jump in to break it up? And it's like, dude, the type of guys who are fighting on subways, cars, like while they're moving, dude, if they touch you, you're going to have to amputate your own arm. It's like, who knows what kind of disease is just going to get, let alone them like stabbing you or punching you. If they just like graze you with their like sweaty palm, you're going to have to go to the hospital and get tested for AIDS, I'm sure. I don't know. The guy, but the guy gets back on the train and he's talking to his buddy. He goes, the male ego is a toxic thing. He just beat the shit out of a guy. He's a male feminist now. You know what? I love someone who's self-aware. I love a self-aware alpha male. It's true. He's right. We just witnessed it. Shit. Exactly. He's beating the shit out of people, but he knows. He knows what he did was wrong. But he's protecting. This is community. There it is. Oh my God. Yeah, I love a good fight. I've seen a bunch of fights now since moving to New York, just in a couple months. Like, multiple fights that I've seen, and there's some good ones. So I won. This dude was like jerking off on the train. This like old man. He was like probably it was a white dude in his like I want to say like 70s. And this was like 8 a.m. That's a bad time when like it's like a commuter train. You're like, what's going on? And then this younger black dude was like, all of a sudden the commotion started, and he like started being like, yo, get the fuck off the train. And like started dragging him and pushing him like through the doors. And then the guy came back. He came back after a stop or two. And that's when he just started beating the shit out of him, threw him off the train. Dude took his shirt off, threw it off the train, and then like went into his bag and replaced his shirt. And I was like, oh, this is okay.
He
comes prepared,
You know, and then he was pissed and he's yelling, like the train's moving and he's like, God damn it, I got to get to work. And I was like, can you imagine just like getting to work and they're like, hey, how was your morning commute? And someone's like, well, I had donuts and coffee. And oh, how was yours? He's like, well, I murdered an old man. I don't know. This was not the shirt I put on this morning.
Right.
The other one got blood on it.
This was my backup shirt.
Yeah.
The other one had jizz and blood stains. But what if that guy, what if the guy jacking off, that was his fetish?
That's true. Just doing it and getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, maybe, you know, there's definitely a plethora of people in New York City who will beat the shit out of you for doing that. Oh, you ever walk through Times Square? Oh yeah, a lot of people will beat the shit out of
you. Yeah, but anyway, thanks for doing this, Dylan. Now, if you don't know, if the folks at home listening don't know, I'll explain it to the listeners. If this is your first time, if you're a big Dylan Krasinski fan, this is your first time tuning in to the podcast. This is an advice podcast. If you need advice, you can email me at advicefromtrent@gmail.com. That's advicefromtrent@gmail.com. Now, we got a great email this week. I'm going to pull it up on my iPhone 7 Plus. All right.
Is that a sponsor? Is Apple
well,
a
I'm
sponsor
trying.
of
I'm trying.
Good. If you keep mentioning it every pretty soon, I feel like you'll get a cease and desist before you get a sponsor from Apple, Trent. Just being
Probably,
fair.
But it'd be better than hearing nothing.
That's true. You know, at least they're listening. You know, the big guys upstairs.
Tim Cook popped in his earbuds and listening to the podcast. The subject is Despicable Dinner. Despicable Dinner. Oh. Daffy Duck is writing it. But
I love alliteration.
Hey, Trent. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I love your podcast. In fact, when we all went around the table and said what we were thankful for, I said your podcast. Wow, that's very nice.
Yeah, you know, COVID vaccine, the fact that our grandparents are still alive, those are things that would top my list, but you know.
Well, now we don't know if these people are anti-vaxxers and they have dead grandparents.
True. That's fair. I know your base. Your base is probably very anti-vax. Sticking with freedom, baby.
Well, yeah, my base, they're all waiting for JFK Jr. to show up. Yeah. He's actually my next guest.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Save the great democracy.
Anyway, my Thanksgiving wasn't great. It was the first time I spent the holiday with my fiance's family. Don't get me wrong, her family is great, but the food there sucked. I had to tell them I wasn't feeling well in order to get out of eating. I know what you're thinking. It's only one day of the year. Get over it. But we're going back for Christmas this month, and I can't fake a stomachache again. Do you have any tips on how I can get out of eating their terrible cooking? Thanks, signed Foul Food in Fairfield,
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two things. I feel like the only way to fix this is to not marry into a white family. That's probably, that would be my first off the top. I mean, you know, in Connecticut, zero seasoning, I expect. Zero seasoning at all. Right. Yeah. You know? And then two, I think that probably just getting a new fiance. Also weird that, you know, usually I would think in a relationship, you split the holidays, right? Thanksgiving with one side of the family, Christmas with the other.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Seems a little greedy to go, you know, back to back.
Yeah. So you're saying just cut her loose right now.
Or be like, hey, we're going to go to my family's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Because, you know, or just be like, you know, honesty, I also think is key. So maybe just saying like, I hate the way your family cooks.
Hey, the food sucks.
I had a bit of a tragedy happen this Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah. And I use that word intentionally. It was a tragedy. So every year I make a real good baked mac and cheese. You wouldn't think it based on, you know, the way I look, but I make a great baked mac and cheese. And we never do mac and cheese for Thanksgiving, but I made it last year for the first time during like quarantine Thanksgiving. I made it for like my family, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is the best mac and cheese I've ever had. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make it when we all get together. So I don't know, Trent, what's your experience with baked mac and cheese? I don't know how extensive it is.
I've had baked mac and cheese. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's a little too much.
It is a very rich dish. I get it. Yeah. So you got to do the mac and cheese, and then you layer. It's like a macaroni, a cheese layer, macaroni and cheese, a cheese layer, and then that cheese layer, it bakes. So the bottom is like creamy and like milky and cheesy, and the top is crispy, and it's a great texture dish. So we go to my aunt and uncle's house for Thanksgiving, and I bring this mac and cheese dish, and we're heating it up. We're getting it all ready for dinner. And I walk in and I check, and I'm like, hey, this just has to bake for this long, for this amount of time. Just leave it alone. It'll be good. And that's it. Right. So I walk in and I was like, hey, I just wanted to check on it. How's the mac? It's a very critical dish. So I was like, how's it going?
Yeah.
And she was like, it's great. Don't worry. I stirred it all up for you. And I was like, excuse me?
Oh my God.
It's my aunt. I told some of my friends this, and they were like, that felt intentional. I think she was trying to sabotage your dish. Dude, you don't stir baked mac and cheese. I mean,
no, I know that. Yeah.
Nothing is the representation of a white family, though, that's stirring up some baked mac and cheese. I mean, it was so disappointing. I just drank too much wine and thought about it the whole rest of the night. I was just like, I can't believe it's been.
You're just stewing over your aunt ruining.
Oh yeah, I was just like, Thanksgiving was ruined. Goddamn tragedy.
So you know what? I do think it's intentional.
Right? I mean, because why else? You see a cheese layer on top. What are you gonna mix it in? Come on.
Now, what did you do? Did you confront your aunt? You said honesty is the best policy.
No, of course not. I was just like, oh my God, dinner is great. And then I bitched about it the whole way home. That's what I did. I mean, come on, let's be real.
What's your favorite? Now, do you like Thanksgiving food?
I do. Yeah. I'm a big, I like Thanksgiving food. I like all food, other than tomato. I don't like tomatoes. That's a weird thing, but I don't like them.
I recently got into tomatoes.
Really? That's how old are you?
26.
26. That's okay. I was saying I hated tomatoes. I hate the taste of tomatoes, but I did get vaccinated. And very soon after I got vaccinated, I had a tomato, didn't hate it. So really? I've been saying, yeah, the only side effect of the vaccine for me was that I now enjoy tomatoes.
That's crazy.
Shots,
how do you feel about, Well, you'd think like the big tomato industry would really be pushing that. Get the vaccine, you'll love tomatoes.
Exactly. Big farmers, not big pharma, but big farmers.
Big farmers.
Big farmers.
What do you think? How do you feel about ketchup?
Ketchup? Oh, see, that's the thing. I like ketchup. I like salsa. If you chopped up a tomato and onion and like put some cilantro and lime, I would eat it with a Tostita. But if you slice a tomato, can't do it. Can't do it. It's just, I don't know. I just don't like it. The taste is too much.
Well, maybe when you get the booster, you'll love, that'll be your favorite.
Hopefully. I know once I stop liking tomatoes, it means my antibodies are too low. I gotta go re-up.
Now, my dad, I think he may have made this up, but my dad always used to say, guys, I never like tomatoes. He's always used to say that if you eat a tomato, it'll make your penis bigger.
Dude, I mean,
I never heard.
I gotta start eating tomatoes. I mean, that's a great talk about pushing. I mean, if you're a tomato, I mean, that I heard someone say that that's what they to push people who didn't want to take the vaccine. Just talk about not that it's going to help save like the country or save communities, help people be like, yeah, no, the vaccine has been proven to make your penis bigger, and fucking everybody would be shooting up.
Yeah, that is
taller. It'll make you taller. It'll make you an inch taller.
There you go. Yeah. They should, the people pushing the vaccine really need to listen to this podcast. They get a lot of great ideas. They're not. Get us into.
I feel like you know whose hands. Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like you could get into his hands, right?
Yeah. What's he doing?
Yeah, nothing. Nothing. I mean, now that
What's he done except lying to the American people?
Yeah, I mean, democracy. I don't know. Where do you go on vacation after you destroy a democracy? Cuba? Who knows?
No, but what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
You know, I go back and forth. I like a mashed potato. I like a good mashed potato. I also like turkey. I like turkey. Turkey's the star.
Yeah,
you know?
never got into turkey.
Too dry. Cook it right. Yeah, you got to cook it right. It's got to be cooked correctly.
I only go to white Thanksgivings.
It's a problem. It's an epidemic. I think that we talk about COVID being an epidemic. White Thanksgiving is an epidemic. It's dangerous. You know, I think there should be a lot. That's why the first Thanksgiving was so good, because it was only half white people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, oh my God. That's why it was such a big deal for, the Pilgrims when they came, because it was the first time they had non-white food. And they were like, holy shit, what have we been missing? We got to make this a holiday.
So you're saying next year on Thanksgiving, go to a reservation.
Yeah, I'm sure you would be accepted.
They'll welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, Trent, you just walk in with your cans of cranberry sauce, be like, I'm here.
Your baked macaroni and cheese. Yeah, they wouldn't stir it.
There's going to be no stirring on a reservation, I'll tell you that. Definitely not. I don't know much, but I know that they're not stirring baked mac and cheese.
So you're saying for this guy, you say,
yeah,
maybe be honest. Say, hey, listen, honey.
Yeah,
the food is not good.
Yeah, I think honesty is key. Also, I feel like what he had to put up with was not worse than my stirred baked mac and cheese. So maybe just put a little perspective.
Put it in perspective.
Is it that bad? Yeah, honesty or perspective. I would say either one, but you have to, the honesty might end the relationship. Perspective, you have bad food for a couple hours, but you get to stay with this person who you maybe love. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. They're not married yet, just the fiance. He could
always time. Always time.
Maybe see this, just wait it out for Christmas, Yeah,
see how it goes.
Yeah, see how it goes. And then January 1st, you kick her to the curb.
Maybe they do a better Christmas dish.
Maybe
they're just real bad at Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, which is mostly the same sides anyway, but maybe they just do it better.
Maybe they really put in the effort.
They just switch up ham to turkey to ham, and they're like, wow, this is 100 times better. We just used salt. Oh my God. Us.
Well, they love our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
And
they really they really kick it into high gear for his birthday.
That's a good point. Yeah. You bring out all the stops when it's the birthday.
Exactly.
Here's
what I would do.
Tell me.
I would say I would get there, and then right around the time they start putting out the food, getting ready for the meal, I would say, oh my God, I forgot one of the presents. And then I would get in the car, and I would go to McDonald's. Get a nice, just so you're not hungry.
I think that's a good move. I think that's a move. Yeah. And then, then you got to take a shower, because nobody, to get that McDonald's smell off of you, you got to really.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to maybe go stay in a hotel for a day just to get that stench away. And then the next day, your fiance is going to be like, you're going to take a shit in the bathroom. She's going to be like, did you have McDonald's last night? And you're going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, is this why you weren't hungry after you came back from getting the present? And you're I don't know. All right. You know what? I'm getting crass. I'm getting too crass. I don't.
Yeah, this is a clean podcast.
I get it.
This is for children.
It's, fuck. Don't vape, kids. Never use a vape. They're very bad. Unless you get a mango flavor, and then they're nice.
Now, did you switch to the vape after you were smoking cigarettes?
No, I've never smoked cigarettes. I just it's they talked about how they should be flavorless because children could be susceptible to, being influenced by the great taste of like mango ice and, pineapple. And they'd be like, wow, let's smoke it. Also, 32-year-olds who are like, yeah, I like the taste of mangoes also. And it makes me a little dizzy when I smoke it. I like it.
So hold on, let's walk it. When's the first time you bought a vape? Or did you try somebody else's?
Yeah, I tried someone else's, and then, I wasn't using them a lot, but then once I got to the city, I started using them because I felt like it also would make me drink less.
Oh, I see.
If you have like a drink and instead of, chasing that, next drink, you take a little break, you have a water and you just hit the vape pen. And then you're like, oh, and we're talking about tobacco, not weed. I mean, that's the crazy for me. I was just tobacco, but yeah. And then I just, now I walk around the city and I just like do it. It's not good. No bueno. Have you ever tried it?
No, I've never smoked weed, never done any drugs.
Straight edge. Good.
Never vaped. I've drank a few times, but other than that.
A few times. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You don't like it?
Never got into it.
Nice. Okay. I was very
condescending. You're 32. I might take it up in a few years.
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah. The hint of condescension in your voice was undetectable virtually.
Now, here's a weird story.
Yeah.
In high school, we had maybe middle school. It was middle school. We had a health teacher. A health teacher, they tell you, oh, you can't, all the things you shouldn't do. Don't smoke.
Yeah.
But she goes, now, I know I'm the health teacher, but I smoke. Something she didn't have
or tobacco?
Tobacco, cigarettes. She smoked.
Yeah.
Something she didn't have to tell us. We weren't that curious about her life.
Yeah.
But she also said that she started smoking when she was 35. And she's the health teacher.
Yeah. You know what? That's someone who started smoking. Either people, I think, start smoking and doing drugs and drinking when they're like younger, like in high school, college, or after a crisis. So I think for her, it was, she had some real bad go on in her life. And she was like, fuck, I need to pick up this fucking vice. It's vice time for me.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought about that. Something did have to happen. She did have a far away look in her eyes.
Yeah, that's it's not good. That's a real sad smoke. For people who are happy smokers, and then most of them, you walk out, you ever see someone smoke a cigarette? They just look like they're just like, we're like thinking about every bad decision they've ever made.
Yeah.
Every single puff, they're just like thinking about how they stole Percocets from their grandmother while she was dying. Another puff, it's like, oh, remember when I didn't go home for my mom's birthday in college and then she died before her next one? And it's just like horrible spiraling. Holy shit. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that.
Maybe here's what I think. Maybe this guy, after he goes to McDonald's, buy a pack of smokes, smoke one up, cover up the McDonald's smell.
What's better? Coming back smelling like cigarettes? Maybe the fiance is like, did you sneak out for a cigarette? That's better than admitting that you snuck out because you hated the food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and then she's like, but you don't smoke. And you go, oh, your family's really stressing me out.
That's a good point. Yeah. And you just keep out the point. Every time it's like the food's bad, you just replace it with your family's bad. I think that might be better. Your family's food is stressing me out. The fact that I can't eat is stressing me out. Yeah, I got a story for you. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I got a story related to when I was working in Boston. I remember part of my job is like we would do like community outreach stuff. So like sometimes we would get sent as like, lawyers, prosecutors, we'd get sent in the community to do these like presentations at different schools. So like middle school, high school. I had to do one that was like about to like literally like 13-year-old kids about how they shouldn't be sending nudes over Snapchat because child pornography. And they were all like horrified. And I was like, goddamn right. Stop fucking doing that. And I got like good at, I was like obviously doing stand-up too. So I was like very good at these like presentations. Right. It was just fun, dude. I had a blast doing them. But then they get annoying because they would be like, oh, like, can you got to go at night. You'd have to go at like 6 o'clock to talk to parents. You have to go, whatever. So like I got good at them. So I would go and do a lot of them. And the last one I did, I went and had to go talk to the senior class of this high school about why they shouldn't drink at prom. And after my presentation, I was not invited back to do any more because I was like, I think it was a great presentation. I think they really dug it. I gave the presentation and I'm going to be like, listen, guys, let's be real. Okay. I want all the teachers to close their eyes. All the adults in the room close their eyes, which is a weird thing when I'm just like, all the adult witnesses shut your eyes.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, close your eyes. And then I was like, okay, raise your hand if you guys drink, right? Are you cool? I didn't say that, but I was like, raise your hand if you drink, and people start raising their hands. I was like, all right, yeah, fine. I was like, raise your hands if you plan on drinking at prom, despite everything that I just said. And like fucking everybody raised their hands. I was like, fair. Yeah, I get it. I go, I'm not a fucking idiot. I was like, I know what you guys are going to do. And nothing that I say up here is going to stop you from doing it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't give a shit if you drink at prom. I don't care. I know you will. I know if you're going to, you're going to.
Mm-hmm.
Do not drive. That is the only thing that I'll tell you not to do, because it will ruin your life. Like it has the potential to literally ruin your life. And which I thought was great advice.
Yeah.
The school did not agree. They were just like that. I thought it was great. They were like, yeah, you know, like, thank you, but like, can you like not tell them to drink? Like you were supposed to tell them not to drink, and you're up there being like, yeah, do whatever you want, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing with the like those programs and stuff. They're not realistic. I was being real. Truth. Yeah.
I didn't do any more presentations after that. I was not invited back.
That's funny. We had a story. We had a guy that came to our high school. He was like he was a cop. He was like a higher, I don't know the rankings, but he was like didn't call himself a cop, but he was a member of the police force, like a lieutenant guy or whatever. But a
narc, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But he gave this presentation about, you know, he was anti-drugs. It wasn't like a dare thing, but it was after that. But he's telling you not to drink and all this stuff. And then a couple of years after I graduated high school, he got arrested for buying alcohol for minors.
Dude, it was all the friends he made at the school.
Yeah, exactly. It was all
That's what it was.
Yeah.
They were like, Lieutenant, I remember you can you buy us booze? And he was like, for $100, I can. He's like, you know, the overtime at the old PD is not what it used to be. So
well, that's why I always say we should pay cops more.
Yeah, exactly. Defund the police, not good. I say overfund the police. Exactly. So, you know, more funding so that 3 of those guys are not taking me down for, you know, flavored smokes. 3 a.m. The one positive, there was one woman on the train, like on the platform. This was like an outdoor platform too. The only positive about the whole situation was there was this one older woman, like an older Black woman, and she was like 50 feet away from me. And when the cops like started talking to me, she looked at me and like we made eye contact, and she was like, about like the cops and like being like those sons of bitches. And I was like, I felt like we really connected in that moment. And I was like, can you fucking believe these guys? And she was like, pieces of shit. And I was like, thank you. So we had a moment. That's
good. Did she invite you to Thanksgiving?
No, that she got on the train, and you know, they made me miss my train. That would have been good. That would have been a great Thanksgiving. I'll tell you that.
Would you saved you the trouble of going to that white?
She would not have stirred the mac and cheese. Absolutely. I'll tell you that. I 100%. Unless I did something to offend her, and then she would do it out of spite. But you know, it's a move.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe this guy. Here's what I think he should do. If he doesn't want to go to McDonald's, you're right. The smell might be a little too much to
McDonald's
to deal with. I would say wait it out for this thing or Christmas. See how the food is. If it's not good, cut your losses, get out of there, and then try to find a diverse lady.
Yeah, that's great. I would say if he is gonna eat somewhere, I think the only place that you could eat would be Boston Market, because
I've never been to a Boston Market.
The smell is virtually Thanksgiving. So you know.
Yeah.
You never been to Boston Market?
No.
I mean, you know, I've been a couple times. 2 or 3 times in my day. It's good. It's fine.
Now, is Boston Market big in Boston, or is it kind of frowned?
I actually have no idea. I've been to Boston Market in Boston and in New York, but I have no idea if it started in Boston. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a great question, Trent. This is you've really given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna go.
We'll end it on a cliffhanger.
I'm gonna go look this up right after the pod.
As you should, and then let me know.
Oh, I absolutely will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. I think that we've solved it. Wait it out. Try it out. If it doesn't work, cut your losses. Get a new gal that knows your family knows how to cook. So there you go. I hope that helps. Anything you want to plug, Dylan?
Yeah, sure. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, at Dylan Krasinski, DYLAN KRASINSKI, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Also, I run a show. If you're in New York, if you live in New York, the first one is December 7th, Hideout Comedy NYC at the Comedy Shop. That's the first show. Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's when is this out? Is this
tomorrow?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So if you're listening on Friday, it is. If you're listening today, which is Friday, it is Tuesday. This coming Tuesday. Come on out, baby. Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Check it out.
Village. Great lineup.
Dylan's very funny. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Trent Mabry, on Instagram, Trent_Mabry, and like the podcast, subscribe, rate, review, all that shit. That's it. That's the show. As always, this is Trent Mabry signing off. Bye-bye. Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Mercy. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe. But I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. What is a boy to do? Mabry has left the building.